So maybe on that same line, is there anything that you've learned in school or professional training that maybe you've either modified or even disregarded because of the potential for it to be harmful? And I'm
Um,
guessing it would be I guess it would be also depending on who your clients are.
right, right. Um, I think because most of my clients have been more abused women and, women working in like me working in nonprofit sector, the sector, but also youth. So it's using less for me. It's mostly, being relatable, coming down off the being very formal and being very, clinical with my words, as I said before, but also getting to their level and understanding where they're at. And that's like one of the things that we like to throw around in social work is like meet your client where they're at, but actually do it. It's whether you're driving to like a park to go have a meeting with them because that's where they feel comfortable, or trying to break down an abuse cycle but using like more real life examples versus what a textbook would say. So it's like depending on what the scenario is, like I tend to be more flexible, and I prefer it that way. I prefer the less formal stuffy feel, and I've gotten, some conversations around that, but it's for me, it's I'm like, I'm here for my clients, not necessarily the other side, right? So it's doing things to make sure they're comfortable and that they are able to get what they need from the resources that I'm trying to provide. For the most part, it's relating to them in that way. And if that's how they want to approach a situation, then that's how I'm going to show up for them, right?
Can you just
Yeah.
clarify a little bit
Mhm.
what you mean by maybe like the more formal way, and then why you think maybe it doesn't work as well in
I
certain
don't,
scenarios?
so for me, yeah, sure. So I wouldn't say that it doesn't work. I think there are spaces where it needs to happen, but I think the places that I've chosen to work or being formal would come across as, you know, oh, this person thinks they're, a little bit more well-to-do, or, so it's kind of like trying to take off like any type of perceived oppression that you're kind of putting towards your client. I think from how I see it is like that freedom piece. Like I think the spaces I work in, like I have a little bit more freedom to bring different things into the conversation as opposed to, I'm assuming, in a hospital or something where you kind of have to follow specific guidelines or specific programming questions, or yeah, it's how the job is set up, I would say.
Yeah,
So
so I guess to maybe to clarify a little for people listening as well, it's like more about in certain workplaces, they have
mhm.
policy, like where social workers
Right,
work, they have policies, and
right,
sometimes those policies are kind of made with a certain type of client in mind, possibly
right,
like a white client, for example.
right.
So then when somebody comes in and kind of doesn't really
Fit that mold.
yeah, then there can be a
Right.
lot of pushback, or
Mhm,
there's can be like a push from a social worker to like try to fit into
mhm.
the box that their workplace has created so that they can
Right,
do their job a little bit more easily.
right. And then even on the flip side, you'd have the social workers that would, and I sometimes find myself falling into that category of this person doesn't match, our typical clients. So how can we help this person with their unique set of situations, right? Short example, I've worked in a shelter that because of the location, our primary clients are, Caucasian women. We had a family come in that was, I would say, 99% Black. Um, and just the resources that she's used to living with wasn't what we had on hand at the shelter. So even something as simple as like fooding, food or clothing or hair care products, like simple, things that we would consider basic needs that would automatically be, given to a woman that comes in. For her, it was, oh, I can't eat that, or I don't eat that because of, beliefs or just dietary preferences. So that created like a little friction for some other staff because they're used to things just moving a little simpler. And for me, it was no, like we have someone here who's not like the others. So how are we going to handle this? Right. So it's kind of having those conversations. And for me, it was taking some of my hair care products and bringing for her and her daughter because I have what she uses. And that was something that I was able to do and I didn't mind doing it. But then on the flip side, having that conversation of like, are we actually being accessible to everyone that could potentially walk through these doors?